Hello, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a really commonly used CBT technique called cognitive restructuring. I'm going to explain what it is, why we use it, and how it can be really helpful. Cognitive restructuring is a really commonly used and really effective technique used in cognitive behavior therapy. It involves looking at changing the way we see situations or the way we might deal with some of the negative thoughts that we might have going through our minds. Now, we have thousands of thoughts running through our minds. We call these automatic thoughts. And a big percentage of these can be negative automatic thoughts. In therapy, sometimes we call them NATs for short. So these negative automatic thoughts can really have an impact on our well-being. They have a connection with the way we think and the way we feel. Now, it was Dr. Aaron Beck, who was the founder of cognitive behavior therapy. And he really sort of talked about this idea of it's not the situation that's the problem. It's our interpretation. It's the meaning that we take from it that's the issue. So how we perceive an experience, in turn, impacts our behavioral and emotional and physiological reactions. So for example, if I'm feeling depressed or low in mood, quite often people with depression or low mood can have very negative beliefs about themselves or about other people or about the world in general. An easy way to understand it is this ABC model. We have the activating event, which is the trigger of those thoughts, and then the beliefs, B. So the beliefs, which are the thoughts or the interpretations of that event. And then we have the consequences. This can be emotional consequences, how it impacts my well-being, how it impacts my mood. Does it make me feel down, angry, sad, guilty, anxious? And then also, how do I react to that? What are my behavioral responses? There's lots of different behaviors that we have based on our interpretation of that situation. An example of this could be, let's imagine that I go into work and my manager calls me into the office and gives me some criticism on a task that I've done and says that I've done something wrong, I've made a mistake. They're not very happy about this. Now, for that situation, there's a number of different reactions I could have to that, a number of different interpretations I can have to that situation. So one reaction could be, I could deny what they've said. I could say, that's not right, I did everything right, I did everything fine, it's their fault, not my fault. I might feel quite angry and upset, and it might cause me to react in the room, shout back, be defensive. That's one reaction. Another reaction could be that I interpret this criticism as a sign that I'm rubbish at my job. I'm terrible, I always knew it, I feel like I'm on thin ice, they're going to try and sack me, I'm terrible at what I'm doing, and I'm vulnerable, and everyone will judge me for this mistake. So everyone will look down at me or look at me in a bad light. Another reaction to this could be, I could interpret this as a mistake that I've made, and I could say to myself, yeah, I made a mistake. Lots of people make mistakes at times, we're human, and I can learn from it. And I'll take some of this feedback on board, or maybe question it if there's anything that I disagree with. But this not struggling with this task, or maybe failing at this task, doesn't mean that I'm going to fail at everything. It doesn't mean that I'm rubbish at my job. This is a setback, and I can get over this in time. So here you have the same situation, but you have a number of different reactions and interpretations or perceptions of that situation. And this is exactly what Dr. Beck was talking about. It's our perceptions of things that make a difference. So one of the key parts of cognitive restructuring is to really understand some of the fundamentals of how our brains work. Our brain has flaws. That's just part of it. We didn't design our brain the way it is. It was designed for us through evolution. Our brain gets it wrong a lot. Okay, what we think and what we feel are not facts. Okay, and that's really important to remember, because there are lots of what we call unhelpful thinking styles or thinking habits, which are basically kind of ways that our mind will distort the truth, distort information, often to fit with how we feel or what we believe about ourselves. So as I was mentioning before, if we're feeling low in mood and I have very negative beliefs about myself, I might be finding that I'm filtering any positive information or feedback that I'm getting, and I'm kind of not taking it on board. Or maybe I'm only ever seeing the things that I've done wrong, and I'm not seeing the things that I've done well. Or maybe there's several things that have gone okay during the day and tasks that I've managed to complete, but the only ones I'm seeing are the ones that maybe I've struggled with or that I've not completed. I might be thinking I know what other people are thinking about me, or that I might be predicting the future about how things are going to go. When I go in that meeting, people are going to stare at me, people are going to look at me, they're going to laugh, I'm going to struggle with my words. These are kind of like what we call kind of jumping to conclusions. I'm kind of fortune telling about the future. With mind reading, I'm kind of predicting how other people are thinking about me. These are some of many different thinking styles that I often go through with clients in therapy to help us become a lot more savvy with understanding where our mind goes at times and some of the pitfalls that it finds itself in. So that's a really key component to cognitive restructuring, to help us understand how our mind can get it wrong at times, and to be able to take a step back and look at things with a fairer, more reasonable, more realistic perspective. And with that, it's really important to understand that cognitive restructuring isn't about sort of positive thinking. Sometimes people see therapy and as this kind of idea of just trying to think positive. It's not that. It's not about trying to turn a negative into a positive. It's about looking at things from a fairer perspective, a more rational and realistic view. Because it's not helpful if we're looking at things through a lens that's not very, very truthful or realistic. How many times have you thought something was going to go a certain way and it maybe didn't go that way? That's an example where our mind has maybe got it wrong. And that's normal and natural, that's human nature. So there's no judgment there on anybody who struggles with that. But being able to take a step back and look at things more clearly, more objectively, is a really helpful thing to do. And often it means that we can look at things with a bit more of a balanced view and a bit of a kinder view. So cognitive restructuring is all about trying to help question those negative thoughts and maybe challenge them. It involves looking at the evidence for that negative thought. What evidence do I have that says that I'm a failure or that something bad's going to happen? What evidence do I have that says that might not happen? That I'm not a failure. Looking at evidence for things can be really helpful. It's kind of like being scientific about our thoughts. And again, looking at things from a more objective view than what our mind might initially sort of tell us. So I hope you've enjoyed this kind of whistle-stop tour of cognitive restructuring. There's obviously a lot more to this, and this is something that you'll engage with talking therapies. If any of you have, might be going through CBT yourself at the moment, or maybe thinking about engaging in CBT. This is just to give you a little bit of in a nutshell, kind of idea of how this intervention works. I hope that's helpful for you. Some of you might be already going through the process of cognitive restructuring, and this might be a useful resource or reminder for you. And also, if there's any therapists out there watching this, this might be a potential video you could maybe share with some of your clients to just help with, just help enhance the work that you're doing together. Well, thank you for watching. And if you do like these videos, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'll be putting out videos every week. And if you like this video particularly, then please like it. It really helps me understand what types of video people are liking, and I can make more content around that topic. Okay, take care. Have a lovely day.